Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Dr. Digital, and today we're going to be doing a guide on how to get almost every single resource in the game. Now, there's some of them that you can't really get at the moment until the future DLCs release, or some of them are craft only, some stuff like that. But for all of the harvestable resources right now, here's the list. Alright, so for berries, we're going to have both the Stego and the Bronto. Now, we have the Stego on here because the Stego is obviously a little bit more of an early game tame compared to the Bronto, but the Bronto is most definitely going to be the best. He might not gather the absolute most from each individual bush, but with a wide sweep attack, it makes short work of berries. Alright, and for seeds, we have the Iguanodon. This is just because you can load him up with berries and then just turn all those into seeds. Alright, for silk, we have the Theory or a mantis with a sickle. I opt to use the mantis with the sickle. You can go ahead and just use a sickle yourself though as well. Alright, for cactus sap, you can use the Megatherium, the Theory, but my preferred method is to just use the Wyvern's wing attack. That gathers a ton of them. Alright, and for wood, we have quite a few dinos here. So we have the Mammoth, Theory, and Beaver. Now, out of all those three, the Theory gathers the most per attack. So if you bring a Theory on a raft in the swamp, that is the absolute best way to get wood. But you can also use a Mammoth or Beaver just for ease of use. They also have weight reduction on wood. And just like the berries, the best dino to get thatch is the Bronto, and this is just because it can attack so many trees at once. Alright, for stone we have the Dodic, which it's going to be the best on any map that it's on. The Dodic is insanely good at gathering stone, but you can also use the Donkey. And for sand, it's going to be the Doedicurus once again. Alright, and for flint, we have the Anki or Mantis with a pickaxe. Alternatively, you can use a pickaxe yourself. Alright, and for crystal and obsidian, you're going to want to use a mantis with a pickaxe, but you can also use a Anki. I find the mantis is a little bit better though. Alright, and for metal, we have the Ankylosaurus once again. This is well known, but on the center, I did make a video on this a couple weeks ago, if you guys want to check that out. But the Donkey on the center, and on a couple of the other maps, the Donkey is actually really good, even better than the Anki at getting metal. You just have to find the right nodes. Alright, and for fiber, we have the Theory and Gigantopithecus. I have the Gigantopithecus here, because if you actually bring him to the swamp cave on the island, you can actually slot cap almost immediately with fiber, which is really, really good. Alright, and for hide, we have the Sabertooth and the Giga. Now, the Sabertooth will gather a ton of hide early game, plus it is one of the best harvesters just in general, but you can also just use a Giga and do meat run. Alright, and next up we have Keratin, which it's believed that the Sabertooth's the best, but it actually isn't as good as people claim. Now, out of any of the dinosaurs that consume it, it is the best, but tools are better, like way better. So you want to use a mantis with a hatchet or just use a hatchet yourself. Next up is meat, and the best way to get meat is by using a Giga or a Karkar. If you don't have access to them, you can just use any big carnivore you have, like a Rex. And next up's meat, which you get the most from Spinos or Baryonyx. Same thing with prime fish meat as well. A little tip for prime fish meat is you can actually just use a sickle on the lead Sichthies, or you can use the Ichthyornis, which is the little seagull, and he'll actually get prime meat from any fish he eats. Alright, and then we have Biotoxin, and the best way to get this is with a Basilosaurus, because you won't get shot. For the next one, we have Organic Polymer with the Moss Chops and the Pelagornis. The Pelagornis is probably the best, but if you do put a lot of points into the Organic Polymer harvesting on the Moss Chops, it actually gathers quite a bit as well. And for honey, you only really have one option here, and that's the Dire Bear. The Dire Bear actually gathers over double what the player gathers, which means it's definitely the way to go if you're going to be manually harvesting it. For oil, we have the Anki, the Dunkleosteus, and the Tuso, Dung Beetle, and Basilo. The Tuso, Dung Beetle, and Basilo produce them. The Dunkleosteus is the best at gathering it yourself, though. Alright, and for rare mushrooms and rare flowers, I actually uploaded a video on this yesterday, so you guys can check out that video for specifically the center if you want. but you want to level up a Theory on Delicate Harvesting for both rare mushrooms and rare flowers. Alright, and for cementing paste, we had the Beelzebufo, which is the only creature that can actually just gather the resource. You can bring them to the swamp cave or just any swamp, and you'll get tons of cementing paste from the dragonflies. But you also can use an Akatina in your base, and it'll just produce Akatina paste, which is the exact same thing. For chitin, we have the Megatherium and Saber. The Megatherium is a lot better at getting it than the Saber, but the Saber can be acquired pretty early on, and you can run the chitin cave with it, and it'll be pretty strong. For Leech Blood, the surprisingly best one at gathering it is actually the Direwolf, but you'll most likely end up using something like a Megatherium in the Swamp Cave, which will get you an absolute ton of them. You can also use the Giga and just run it around the swamp. All right, for Silica Pearls, you're gonna use the Anglerfish, but you can also use an Otter. I wouldn't recommend it though. For Angler Gel, the best at gathering it is actually the Megalodon, but I would, again, suggest just using a Basilo in the water, just because you won't be scared of getting shot. And for Absorbent Substrate, you can only gather them from Tusos, and I would suggest using a Basilo because you can't get grabbed by the Tuso attacks. And last but not least, we have Black Pearls, which you can use the dolphins at the bottom of the ocean to kill Eurypterids, but I would suggest just using a Basilo or your strongest underwater creature to kill either alphas or Tusos. Alright guys, so that's it for the list. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.